Imagine walking into a dealership with every intention of making a rational decision. You tell yourself you have a budget, you've done your research, and you won't be persuaded by glossy advertisements or clever financing offers. Yet only a few hours later, you're driving home in a vehicle that costs far more than you originally planned, comforted by the thought that the monthly payment seems manageable. This story repeats itself every day, not because people lack intelligence, but because the economics of buying a car are designed to focus attention on affordability today rather than the total financial consequences over many years. The result is that millions of people slowly trade future financial freedom for a vehicle that begins losing value the moment it leaves the lot. The surprising part is that the problem is rarely the car itself. Cars are incredibly useful tools that allow people to work, travel, and connect with opportunities they might never reach otherwise. The real issue begins when a practical purchase quietly becomes an emotional one. Modern vehicles are marketed as symbols of success, identity, and achievement. A car no longer represents only transportation. It becomes a statement about who we are, where we belong, and how we want others to see us. Once identity enters the equation, mathematics often leaves the room. Psychologists have long observed that people naturally place greater value on immediate rewards than future ones. Driving home in a newer, faster, or more luxurious vehicle delivers an instant emotional payoff, while the financial cost unfolds gradually over years. Because the pain is divided into monthly payments, insurance bills, maintenance, fuel, registration, and interest charges, the total expense rarely feels as large as it actually is. Our brains evaluate the payment rather than the complete price, and that small shift in perspective changes everything. Consider a simple example. Imagine someone purchases a car for $50,000 with a loan stretching over several years. Instead of asking whether $50,000 is a reasonable amount to spend on transportation, they ask whether $700 or $800 each month fits into their budget. Those are completely different questions. One examines total wealth, the other examines monthly cash flow. By focusing only on the payment, people often overlook depreciation, financing costs, and the opportunities they sacrifice by tying up money in a rapidly declining asset. Depreciation is one of the least understood forces in personal finance because it happens quietly. Unlike a market crash or a surprise expense, depreciation rarely demands attention. The vehicle simply becomes worth a little less every month. Over several years, that reduction can amount to tens of thousands of dollars. At the same time, loan payments continue leaving your bank account, insurance premiums remain high, maintenance costs gradually increase, and unexpected repairs become more common as the vehicle ages. Each individual expense appears manageable, but together they create a financial system that continuously pulls money away from wealth-building opportunities. History offers an interesting parallel. Throughout different periods of economic expansion, societies have often expressed prosperity through visible consumption. Large homes, luxury goods, fashionable clothing, and increasingly expensive vehicles all become public signals of financial success. Yet appearances frequently mask reality. During many credit-driven booms, rising debt created the illusion of increasing wealth even as household balance sheets became more fragile. When economic conditions changed, families discovered that impressive possessions did not provide financial resilience. This is why the decision to buy a car extends far beyond transportation. It reflects how we think about money, status, and time. People who consistently build wealth often ask different questions before making large purchases. Instead of asking what payment they can afford, they ask what ownership will truly cost over the entire life of the asset. Instead of comparing themselves with neighbors, coworkers, or strangers online, they compare today's purchase with tomorrow's financial flexibility. That subtle shift in perspective transforms spending from an emotional reaction into a calculated decision. In the end, most people do not go broke because they bought one expensive car. Financial pressure usually emerges from a long sequence of decisions that individually seem reasonable but collectively become overwhelming. A vehicle can either remain a practical tool that supports your financial goals or become an obligation that quietly limits them for years. Understanding that difference is less about avoiding cars and more about recognizing the hidden mathematics behind one of the largest purchases most people will ever make.